Hello, this is Dean Phoenix with the final episode in my Bioshock Infinite 1999 mode walkthrough, getting the scavenger hunt achievement, not buying anything from a dollar bill machine. So we come to the infamous ship deck, and it can be very difficult, but I have a few tactics, not wholly my own. I can't give credit though, unfortunately, because that person took down their video. It's from years ago, but these are well-known tactics. The main thing to have is Winter Shield. There are skylines all around the deck, or a big skyline in a circle all around the deck, and Winter Shield will effectively make you invincible the whole time. You can therefore use Brittle Skin and Overkill and Rising Bloodlust for the other pieces, and Brittle Skin means that you can skyline strike or charge people and they will be twice as vulnerable, and Overkill will have that effect of the lightning chain, and Rising Bloodlust will increase your damage. So we've got the volley gun, the hand cannon all maxed out. I actually had loads of spare crowns and so maxed out the RPG, the shotgun and the sniper rifle. The RPG and the hand cannon completely superfluous. I just used the extra crowns that I had, and same with the hailfire. So the only ones you really would need is the clip and damage on the repeater is very helpful. I've also got the stabilizing recoil decrease. The repeater is very useful for this because it's what all of the common Vox soldiers use and it's very damaging. We've also got the volley gun, and then you can use the sniper and the shotgun as well. We've got the shock jockey and bucking bronco duration aids. Got both of return to sender, but all you really need is send for less. And then we have possession and undertow, both upgrades for those, and then both upgrades for charge. But again, it's only charge aid that you really need. The explosion one is a bonus. So there are several things that you need for this particular ship deck level. It can seem extremely difficult, but there are a couple of things that will instead make it very, very easy. One is Winter Shield, and then realizing how many salts pickups there are. And there are tons of salts pickups around, meaning you don't really need blood to salt. So if you want to play it super safe, just stick with Winter Shield all the time. You can get free damage whenever you want by using skyline strikes, and jumping on and off the skyline a couple of times will guarantee that Winter Shield is active. So Winter Shield is one of the crucial things. Another thing is Songbird, and so I'll just go over the Songbird thing. So you have the CAGE, and you can control Songbird for this fight. So he has a timer up on the top right of the screen, and the bigger a target you use him on, the longer it'll take him to regenerate. So if you use him on the deck to just clear out the regular enemies that are on the deck, it'll recharge very quickly. If you use him on one of the red barges, then it will take longer, a considerable amount of time for him to recharge. So for the barges, you only really want to use him on the ones that have a massive turret firing rockets, because those are most dangerous. The rest of them, they don't actually cause direct damage to the core. So you see that blue bar that's just come up at the top, that is the core of the ship, and that's what we need to protect. And the Zeppelins take a really long time for a Songbird to recover, so I'll cover those separately. So first things first, you have this barge turns up. It's not one that does direct damage itself, so if you just use possession and try and get the beast, the guy with the rocket launcher, try and possess him first, and then the rest of them are just normal enemies. Now this is absolutely genius, and unfortunately I can't take credit for this either. It's not my discovery. It's been known for a while, and again, I had a brilliant video saved in my favourites, but somebody has since made it private or removed it, so I can't give credit to the video that I first found it out from. But you can use these secondary return to sender traps, and they are absolutely amazing. So you see I just used Songbird there, and you can see the timer has come up on the right hand side, so it takes a little bit of time for the ones for it to recharge when you're using it on a barge. But you can just again possess the rocket guy. I actually missed the rocket guy, so I decided to take the barge out instead. Now there are tons of resources. Now whilst these early waves are relatively easy, what I would recommend is try to use the resources that are further away from the core, because then you're not having to leave the core undefended. But yeah, the main thing I'll just go over again. You saw me throwing those return to sender secondary traps, so holding return to sender and putting a load of those traps on the front and the back of the core, and that is absolutely amazing. So make sure you do that. It absorbs loads of the damage. It just makes this whole thing with Winter Shield really easy. Another quick tip is you can always switch to Sheltered Life if you don't feel like using Winter Shield particularly. You can see there I just took a bit of damage because I hadn't triggered Winter Shield, and I'm running low on health, so I use Charge Aid to get my health back, and then I take out some of the get my shield back, sorry, and I take out some of the enemies, use the repeater to kill these guys, and then I will use Winter Shield to get a bit of that invincibility. So I'm switching back from Winter Shield there. And if you want to play it super safe, you can have Sheltered Life, so you see that will also give you more invulnerability when you jump when you use one of the massive health kits that are around. So you can see that badge had a health bar underneath it, and that is for the rocket launcher turrets that were on it, the sort of like the massive turrets that you had outside of the lockdown where you had to go and get in Finkton. And so that one's a particularly dangerous badge, so I took that out with Songbird. But the other badges that don't have the health bar underneath them, that don't have the sort of like showing you how much damage the turrets take, because they don't have a turret, they're not a problem because the enemies will jump off those instead. So you can just use Skyline Strikes like this on the enemies that have the repeater, and this is why having the repeater damage boost 2 and the clip upgrade is very useful, because it's essentially free ammo all the time for a very damaging weapon on this section, because all these regular guys have repeaters. But you can just take out the other enemies quite easily. So the 3 barges turned up, one of them had the rocket launcher on, destroyed that with Songbird. The other 2, all the enemies jump off them, and the only enemies that are really problematic from those sort of waves, from those next 2 barges, are these guys, the beasts, but you can take those down with 1 use of possession, and with possession for less, that's a very efficient method of taking them out. So you can see, even when you're running low on salts, if you've not been using blood to salt, or you're running low on health, there are tons of pickups to get, so you can always find those. If you look just here, there's a massive salt pickup and a small salt pickup here in the middle, so you can just make sure that you stay full like that. There are medical kit tears at the far end of the ship, and also a couple on this near end. And you can do things like throw traps as well, just to keep the enemies busy, any of the traps that you want here also. So if you look now, I've just taken out the first Zeppelin. You have to take out all of the Zeppelins whilst dealing with these waves of enemies, so this is a really important thing to do. And the Zeppelins mean that it takes a really long time for Songbird to actually recharge. So instead of doing what I actually did there, it can be a very good idea to instead just use the Songbird on the barge that has the rocket launcher. So you saw that there was rockets being fired from the red barge, and I had actually already just used the Songbird on the Zeppelin, so it's going to take a really long time to actually take them out. So for there's only one of the, I think there's 3 Zeppelins in total, and only one of them has actual rockets on it, a rocket launcher on it. So that one with the rocket launcher you definitely want to take out with Songbird, and that is the second Zeppelin that turns up, and I believe it always spawns to the left of the core. So if you are facing away from the core, like I'm facing here towards the bow of the ship, I believe the Zeppelin with the rockets on always turns up to the left hand side, so you want to make sure that you use Songbird on that one. The other Zeppelins you can actually take out relatively easily with a different method, which I think I'm going to show later. So Songbird just recharged, that barge is still floating around with all those rockets on. You can take the actual barge's rocket launcher out with weapons if you want, but better to use Songbird for that, and then to take out the Zeppelins without the rocket launchers on, take those out manually, which I hopefully will show in just a minute. So yeah, it's all about how you prioritize things. So here, the 2 Zeppelins turn up at once, so you see you've got the one on the right. I'm just checking with Undertow that there are no enemies left. So Songbird, not too far off recharging, but you can see that this Zeppelin on the, I will show you now. So there's these 2 barges turn up, and they both have turrets on, and they will just float up here. So best to take those out first. Don't use Songbird on them, just take the actual barge out themselves, and then you can use Songbird there. Now, again, I just used Songbird on the large Zeppelin to the left hand side, but that was the one without the rocket launcher. So that one that has the health bar, this is the one that really needs taking out. So this is how we're going to take them out manually. You can get on the skyline right up to the top here, and it's quite easy to do. It's like taking out the one again before you went into the factory. You can see it's trying to fire those rockets at me, which is good because it's drawing the fire away from the actual core itself. So again, you've got a couple of beasts that it's best to take out a different way. You can also get volley gun ammo and some salts by jumping onto those two things. And you've got these return to sender traps, and they just give you a ton of easy ability to take out the protect the core, and you can just use the undertow and shock jockey combination to take out the Patriots. There will be 6 Patriots each wave if you try and take them all out manually, and you can see these rockets raining down are from that Zeppelin. So you can either take the Zeppelin out manually by jumping onto the wing and running inside and taking out the actual engine of them, sabotaging them like you did with the one outside the factory, or you can just wait until Songbird recharges, and you can see that it's sometimes easier just to take them out with Songbird there. So on this particular run I took out all the Zeppelins just using Songbird, and you can just use the protect the core with return to sender traps and do it that way. So basically those are your 2 tactics available for taking out all of the Zeppelins. You can either take them all out with the Songbird and just kill the enemies yourself using the tactics that we've outlined there, and the repeater and everything else, return to sender, and there are tons of salt pickups and everything else. Or you can instead take them out manually. So what you would do is go on the skyline, go up to the top, and you can jump onto the wing of the Zeppelin, run inside, and there are no enemies, and you can just sabotage them as well. So you can see there, that's all 3 Zeppelins taken out, and that is how you would protect the core using return to sender. So we'll just go over and recap. I'm just going to have a quick run around here to show you how many resources are left. So you can see there was another large health kit there. There are a bunch of rockets if you want to use the RPG, 2 massive salt pickups there as well, and basically there's just resources all over the place. Another large salt pickup and a large med pack, sniper rifle ammo, sniper rifle tear up at the very top if you ride the skyline up, sniper rifle at the back. There are loads of resources. So just to recap, Winter Shield, Sheltered Life can be useful, or you can use Rising Bloodlust, but Winter Shield, throw return to sender traps all over the core, make a lot of use of the salts pickups. There are massive salt pickups all over the place. Use the repeater if you're running short of ammo, or you just want to make sure that there's a ton of ammo left, and then prioritize Songbird for either the barges with the rocket launchers on, the Zeppelin with the rocket launcher on, and the other 2 Zeppelins if you don't want to take them out manually. And if you want to take them out manually, you would ride the skyline up to the top, jump onto the wing of the Zeppelin, and then take out the engine like you did with the one outside the factory earlier in the game. So that is how you deal with the core, protecting that and doing that last level. It's actually very manageable with those tactics. So hopefully that will let everybody finish 1999 mode, and if you followed along with the guide, that will set you up for watching the fantastic ending of a fantastic game. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you find the guide and this episode useful, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will be putting up a full playthrough of me using these tactics all through the game. And thank you for watching.